pair. In lane 0, we have Capital A. In lane 1, we have Orchard Lake St. Mary's, Orchid Lake St. Mary's. In lane 2, St. Ignatius Chicago. In lane 3, St. Peter's Prep. In lane 4, Port. In lane 5, Wayland Weston. In lane 6, Miami Rowing Club. And in lane 7, Newport. Now, we have Newport over in lane 7. Basically, Miami in lane 6 and Newport rode the same time in their semifinals. So it will be interesting to see if Miami can pour something on and put some pressure on this Newport aquatic crew, who just looks to be laying down an awesome race right now.
I know, really good form.
Yeah.
I feel like, you know, I can even hear a little bit of audio coming through, hearing their breaths are really synced together, breathing out at the release. They are tuned in with each other and they're locked in. Look at this open water here.
Yeah, and this will be another interesting race to see. They looked very good. You saw that shot just connected. And in the pair, you really do have to be synced with your teammate. And so we'll see if Miami can do anything to get things back on track. But Miami's now going to have the rest of that crew saying, all right, well, now this is our battle. How do we get back into this race?
Yeah, so as we pan across this first check-in point at the 1,000, it's still this near crew who is in the lead, but I believe that it will be Miami in a second place position. Next to them is Port. Oh, nope, I'm just joking here.
St. Ignatius.
St. Ignatius and Port, they were going back and forth there for a third place position, near tie then between St. Peter's Prep and Capital A.
So right now, this great shot here, you can see we have Miami, and inside of them we have Wayland Weston and Port. So it looks as though Port might be able to put some pressure on Miami, but we'll see how that works out. But St. Peter's Prep and Port are going at it right now. It looks as though St. Peter's Prep has been able to get maybe a bow ball lead over in lane 0. We have Capital trying to get into the contention for that third place spot. We can see them moving up on both St. Peter's Prep and Port, trying to inch into that conversation. Sorry, that's Port and Wayland Weston.
Again, 8 lanes early in the morning. We're ready to go. But look at this margin.
Yeah.
This margin lead of Newport. Really, what, 3 boats ahead now at this point. That's a really hard, well, I mean, it's great for them. It's hard to come back from if you're trying to aim for a medal or a top position, but we've got a really good, strong second place position of Miami. But that third place spot is really still up for grabs. Look at this crew. This is really, I'm looking at the balance. I'm looking at their timing. They look incredibly level. I'm just looking at the boat. It's not moving much side to side. Really fine form.
Yeah, they're really well matched up as a crew, and as we come into this extra tough last 500, we can see Miami crossing there, and that looks as though it's Port. And then that looks as though St. Ignatius from Chicago.
And the rest of the field crossing into that last extra tough last 500.
So right now the question is, who's going to be second? It looks as though Miami is in good shape, but you know that anything can happen in that final sprint. For third place, it looks as though we still have Wayland Weston, Port, and possibly Capital A battling for that. We'll see if St. Peter's Prep, you know, and sorry,
St. Ignatius, Chicago, and Orchard Lake, if they can get themselves in the mix. But third place, what we keep seeing here in Sarasota is that in that middle 1,000, a lot of the back of the field starts to change up and tighten up because I think everyone's ready to go for this sprint.
Yeah.
Wow, just looking at panning out to the finish line area. These crews and supporters are running, literally seeing people running. The coaches are following the race. There's people running in tandem with the crews as they're coming into the last 150 meters here, trying to crown a champion here in the men's youth pairs. Newport charging towards the line. They had lots of open water, but it is closing in. Miami taking up the rate. They're about a boat of length open from the first place, but they are charging hard to claim any sort of ground. But it is Newport across the line in first place here in the men's youth pair, followed by Miami Rowing Club, second place. Third place, very, very tight now between Wayland Western, then St. Peter's Prep. Wayland Western coming up on top. St. Peter's Prep, Port A. Far side of the course, Capital A in that sixth place position. Orchard Lake St. Mary's seventh, and St. Ignatius Chicago in eighth. Top 8 in the country in the men's youth pairs.
Look at that. That balance, they took turns putting their heads up. You can see a little splashing of the water there.
Yeah, don't take your hands off the handle.
You know, that's the thing, though. You really gain in the pair. You gain that sort of balance, and it's really one of those technical boats. So we're back up at the